This isn't about fashion, it's about timing. Because when Travis Kelce signs a new deal with the Kansas City Chiefs and then immediately takes on a global ambassador role with Tommy Hilfiger, it's not just expansion, it's transition. Let's start with the context. Kelce just secured a 3-year contract. On paper, it's long term. In reality, it's not. Functionally, it's a 1-year commitment, a controlled window, a flexible exit. That matters because it tells you how both sides are thinking. The Chiefs are buying time. Kelce is managing the end game. Now, look at the numbers. 76 catches, 851 yards, 5 touchdowns. Still productive, still reliable, still leading the offense, but not dominant in the way he once was. And that's the key shift. Kelce is no longer redefining the position. He's sustaining it. The obvious narrative says he's extending his career while building his brand. And that's true, but it doesn't explain the sequencing because elite players don't accidentally stack moves like this. Contract, then visibility, then expansion. That's intentional. Now we go deeper because this is where football and identity collide. Tight end is one of the most physically demanding positions in the NFL. Constant contact, short area collisions, repeated hits over the middle. Longevity at this position isn't normal. So when a player reaches this stage of his career, the equation changes. It's no longer about maximizing performance, it's about managing decline and managing perception, because perception extends career value. If you're still seen as elite, you're still treated as essential. Now connect that to the off-field move. Becoming a global ambassador isn't just marketing, it's positioning. It shifts Kelce from athlete to figure, from performer to brand. And that changes how he's viewed by fans, by media, and even by the organization. Clipping moment 1. When an athlete becomes a brand, their value is no longer tied only to performance. Now let's bring this back to the field, because this is where the pressure builds. The Chiefs are entering uncertainty. Patrick Mahomes is recovering from a major injury. The offense is evolving. The margin for error is shrinking. And Kelce? He's still the most trusted option in critical moments. Third down, red zone, late game situations. That hasn't changed. But here's the problem. Reliance doesn't scale with age. The more you depend on a veteran player, the more fragile your system becomes. So the Chiefs face a decision. Do they continue to build around Kelce, or do they start building beyond him? And the contract tells you the answer. They're doing both. Short-term reliance, long-term transition. Now we arrive at the hidden factor. Kelce isn't just extending his career, he's controlling how it ends, because most players don't get to choose their exit. Performance drops, teams move on, relevance fades, but Kelce is flipping that. He's expanding his presence while still producing. So when the decline does come, it won't define him. His brand will already be bigger than his role. Now let's identify the turning point. It won't be a stat line. It won't be a milestone. It will be a moment in game, third and short. Defense keys on Kelce. He's double covered. In the past, the ball still goes to him, and he still finds a way. But now, if that play doesn't work, if separation isn't there, if timing is just slightly off, that's when the shift begins. Not visibly, but structurally, because the offense starts looking elsewhere, more often, more naturally. And once that happens, you can't reverse it. Clipping moment number 2. A veteran's role doesn't end all at once. It fades the moment the system stops depending on him. Now, zoom out. Kelce's situation represents something bigger. This is what elite career management looks like in the modern NFL. Maximize earnings, expand influence, control narrative, prepare the next phase before the current one ends. And he's doing all of it simultaneously. The podcast, the endorsements, the global partnerships. None of that is accidental. It's layered, strategic, timed with precision. Now here's the final layer. This also impacts the locker room because younger players see it. They see how a veteran operates, how he transitions, how he maintains relevance, and it sets a blueprint, not just for performance, but for longevity. The smartest players don't just extend their careers, they outgrow the moment their careers end. And that's what this move really is. Not a distraction, not a side project, a signal that Travis Kelce understands exactly where he is, exactly where the Chiefs are, and exactly how much time is left between the two. And once a player reaches that level of awareness, every decision becomes intentional, even the ones that don't look like football. It looked like a football decision. But it wasn't just that, because when Travis Kelce committed to returning to the Kansas City Chiefs, the assumption was simple: one more run, one more push, one more season chasing relevance after a disappointing year. Then, days later, the real story started to unfold. Kelce didn't just come back, he expanded. And that's where everything changes. On the field, the move made sense. The deal looks like 3 years, but it's really a 1 year window, a controlled commitment, enough to keep the offense intact, especially with Patrick Mahomes working his way back from injury. Is still the safety valve, still the chain mover, still the one player Mahomes trusts when everything breaks down. 12 straight seasons with 800 plus yards, matching Jerry Rice netties. That's not nostalgia, that's production. But here's the turning point. While the Chiefs are betting on Kelce to stabilize the offense, Kelce is building something bigger off the field. Enter Tommy Hilfiger Global Ambassador, creative collaborator, not just a sponsorship, control, influence, a seat at the table, not just a face in the campaign. That's not a side move, that's a signal. Because players don't step into roles like that unless they understand where they are in their career. This isn't just about football anymore. It's about transition, about positioning for what comes next while still competing at a high level now. And that creates tension because balancing both worlds isn't easy. The spotlight gets bigger, the expectations don't shrink. And for a player entering year 14, every ounce of focus matters. Every rep, every recovery day, every decision on how to spend time and energy. For Kansas City, that's the risk. They need Kelce to still be that player, the one who wins critical downs, the one who keeps drives alive when timing is off early in the season, especially if Mahomes isn't fully himself right away. If Kelce delivers, the offense holds together. If he slips, even slightly, everything gets tighter. That's how thin the margin is now. But for Kelce, this isn't hesitation, it's control, because instead of waiting for the end to come, he's building through it, expanding his brand, locking in opportunities, turning his presence into something that lasts beyond the game. And that's why this moment matters more than it looks. This isn't just a player returning, it's a player managing the final phase of his career in real time. One foot still in the huddle, the other already stepping into what comes next. And if he gets it right, he won't just extend his impact on the field, he'll redefine what the transition out of it looks like.